And it is time to get started. Hey, welcome to At The Track Live. My name is Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. What is All About Aerodynamics, you ask? Glad you asked, even if you didn't ask. All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics related topics, including, but not limited to, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic energy, elastic force. And we go through all of these topics. We conduct experiments to drive home all of those concepts. And then, and only then, after we have learned all of the science, after we have had discussions and played games to make sure that everyone understands all the concepts, then I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student gets to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything that they've learned in the class. Once they've picked their car, they take a picture of their car, they weigh their car, we test the speed of their cars. They check the year the car was manufactured, they put all of this information into a spreadsheet, and then they set up a 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip, and we race the cars. And we have a little mini tournament, and the students get to observe how their cars perform. Did their car perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the chance, would they select that car again or make a different choice? We have fun with Hot Wheels cars. We learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, All About Aerodynamics, and how to bring it to your school or your organization or your special event, you can go to our Instagram account, AA Aerodynamics, and you can find all the information you'll need in the bio. Or you can jump straight to our website, AAAerodynamics.com, and you can read more in-depth information about the program and the different versions of the program, whether you have a science night at your school, whether or not you have 3 weeks for the full program, or whether or not you just have an hour or 2 for a special assembly. There is a variation of All About Aerodynamics to fit whatever your special needs are. But this is not All About Aerodynamics. This is All About Aerodynamics presents At The Track Live. So what is At The Track Live? Before I can bring in all of those cars for the students to use, I have to make sure that I have that I know exactly which cars I'm bringing in. I have to know where they are so I can distribute them to the students. And then when they're done with their experiments, I can put them back in the right places and they can be ready for the next group of students. So that means that I have to grab the cars, take a picture of the cars, enter the information into the spreadsheet. I even take a short video because there's an online version of All About Aerodynamics, and the students won't have a chance to see the cars in person. So the 360 video gives them a chance to really examine the car to make sure they're making the right choice. But what ends up happening is I have more Hot Wheels cars in storage than I have introduced into the fleet. And every Hot Wheels enthusiast and collector knows that when you go to a store and you go down that Hot Wheels aisle and you're checking the pegs and trying to see which cars are new, if something catches your eye, you pick it up. And that's what I do every time I go to the grocery store, Target, Walmart, whatever. And I end up with a lot more cars in storage than I've introduced into the fleet. So I created At The Track Live so that I could get on a schedule to introduce new cars. So every week, every Saturday, I go into storage, I pull out about 6 cars, we crack those open, take a look at those, I get my picture, shoot the little video, do a little review. Then once we've got all those cars, the track is set up, we're ready to go. So we have a little mini tournament, and all of the cars race, and we end up with a champion for the day. But wait, there's more. The live part, all of that I just described, I could do offline. Why is it live? It's live because you have the opportunity to participate. All you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, and you will have three options. One will be the YouTube stream link, one will be the Twitch stream link, but the third option, that's the important one. The third option says choose a car. And if you go to that link, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, you will see all of the cars that we have in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet, and the current number is 809. There are 809 different cars for you to choose from. And all you have to do is find the car that you think would be faster than the cars that we've introduced. I will pull that car, and then we'll add it to the tournament, and we will race it and see if you're correct. Let's see. All of the cars are numbered because I have done this work of cataloging all of these cars. So all of the cars have a number. So if you think that this Fair Lady 2000 is going to be the fastest car, you can click on it. You can see the reflection in the mirror to tell if it's a plastic body on a metal base, a metal body on a plastic base, or metal on metal, which is the case with some of the older cars. And you can take a look at the car, and if you decide this is the car you want, then all you have to do is take the number, in this case 156, drop that into the chat. I will pull the car, and boom, you're entered into the tournament. And let's see, Jordan Kirby is asking the Vancenator. Let me take a look at the spreadsheet that I have kept here. And that's the other thing that I've explained in the past, is that I use Squarespace to host the website, and for the most part it's good, but the one downside is their search function on the website is awful and really doesn't work well. I've been in contact with them and other people to try and get it straightened out, and the response that I've gotten back is there's nothing that's going to be done or can be done. So that is why you can't just... I used to have a search bar, but it was so broken that I took it out. It would be much easier if, in the case of Jordan, you know the car that you're looking for. You could just type in the name and it would show up. But that's not the case. So this is what you should do. Do what Jordan just did, and you can send me a direct message, or you can just drop it in the chat if you know the name of the car you're looking for. He is looking for the Vancenator, and according to the spreadsheet, it is car number 557. So let's go ahead and just take a look and see what that car looks like. 557. And as I mentioned, we have fantasy cars. We have cars designed after real cars. We have just some premium cars. We have some Hot Wheels ID cars that I don't think they make those anymore. I don't think that really took off the way they were hoping. Let's see. There are cars from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and a Vancenator right here. Here we go. Car number 557, the Vancenator. And this car probably, this would have raced early on, because I think when we started at the Track Live, it was started with about car number 450. So this car probably would have shown up in that first year, several months of doing the conducting the races. So this is the Vancenator, and Jordan, if you want me to pull this car and drop it into today's tournament, just let me know in the chat. But yes, we do have this car. If there's another car that you are interested in, that you know the name of, you can drop that in the chat and I can look it up, because I do know that it is, it's not exactly efficient. Okay, all right. Jordan just confirmed the Vancenator is going to be one of the cars that gets pulled. So I'm going to write this number down, 557. And once I go through the other cars that I'm going to introduce, I will pull that car. We'll take a look at it. And the Vancenator will be making its at least second appearance on AtTheTrack.live. And all you have to do is you can do exactly what Jordan did. Just go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, and you will come to this page. And there are so many different, like, look at this one. We've got the Dog Fighter, part of some kind of airplane series, and I have a few other cars that have a airplane look. This one was surprisingly fast. It didn't win the tournament, but it beat a couple of cars. Excuse me, and it was pretty fast, surprisingly so. And that's one of the fun things about racing these cars, is that some of the students have picked these cars, but all of these cars have not been picked. So I don't know how certain cars will perform. Here's another from that airplane series. This one's like a World War II bomber, and that one, and it has 6 wheels, which is unique for any of the cars that we race. It wasn't fast, but I didn't really expect it to be. We had this one, this Ford Mustang concept car, smaller car, and smaller cars are kind of hit and miss on the track because there has to be a balance between the weight and the size. And we had last week a smaller car that was really light, and it just bounced around the track. And it actually lost, it didn't bounce around the track, I'm sorry, it lost speed toward the end of the track. So one of the things that we've begun to observe is that really light cars sort of have the same outcome as really heavy cars. And what I mean is, toward the back end of the track, they slow down. They slow down for different reasons, but they both slow down. So the kind of sweet spot that we found for the weight of cars is between about 32 grams and 36 grams. Now, in just looking at the pictures, there's really no way for someone to just tell unless they've got some kind of system and some kind of magic eye to tell what the weight of the cars are just based on the look. But there is something to, we've again found sort of a sweet spot. And if your car falls in that range, then you're more likely to find success than if you have a really light car. I think the lightest car in the fleet is probably, there's a Tinkerbell character car in here somewhere. And I think if I remember correctly, that is the lightest car. And as we've seen before, students have picked it because they think that the lighter the car is, the better it's going to perform. But there's so many different factors that come into play, that's not always the case. So yeah, I love seeing how these cars, what they do on the track, because most of them I have not seen race because they just haven't been picked. So let's see. All right, we're starting off hot. Roughshod is back. How you doing? Okay, Roughshod. Oh yeah, so Roughshod made his pick early, and I still have it written down here. 198, the Iridium. So let's go back and take a look at that car, because I think Roughshod was saying he has a list, has a mental list of the cars that he's going to select. And let's see. We'll see what kind of oh, okay. So he's picked this one, Iridium. He's gone with the fantasy car. And that's the thing with these fantasy cars, it's really hard to tell how they're going to perform because the designs and the aerodynamic profiles are so unique and different to each car, and there's not really anything that you can compare them to in the real world to know kind of how they'll perform. So it's always unique, and we just have to take it to the track. And I don't remember this car being picked before by any of the students. So who knows how it will perform. It's got the wing, which is one of the things that we've kind of been noticing, that the cars that have performed well have had wings in the back, but this one's got a wing that's not at the back end of the car. It's in front of the back wheels. So how is that going to play into the performance? I have no idea. It's a plastic body on a metal base. The driver's canopy is very sleek, smoothed out, and Roughshot said his pick was outside of the box. Yeah, this is outside of the box, but that's the thing. We don't, until the cars hit the track, we don't know how they'll perform. This could be the super sleeper car. I don't know, but we are going to find out. Mustard Jello is back. Hey, how you doing? And of course, if you want to make a selection, Mustard, then you know the drill. You just go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, scroll through, find the car that you want to race against the others that we have introduced, and we'll see which car comes out on top. And the car that comes out on top of the mini tournament that we have will have the opportunity to face our fastest in fleet car, the car that is the champion, the car that has beaten cars that have won the tournament every week. And that car, let me put a little spin on it, give the champ his proper due, is this one, the Gazella R. The Gazella R is the fastest in fleet car. It is, jumped in a little, not slow motion. Let's get that, try again. Zoom in there, straighten out the camera. Yeah, and let's get the champ in focus. This is the Gazella R. This is the fastest Hot Wheels car in our fleet as of right now, and as of the past several weeks. The Gazella R has been beating cars by significant margins and has rarely had even a close race. Our races are best 2 out of 3, and I don't know that it's even lost one of the 2 out of 3. Maybe it did a while back, but it is by far, it is the fastest Hot Wheels car that we've seen in a long time, and it is on a march to March 29th. If the Gazella R can make it to March 29th, it will match the Blitz Speeder's record of 17 weeks as champion. And when it gets to March 29th, if it gets to March 29th and it is still the champion, we are going to bring back the Blitz Speeder, and we are going to have a champion versus champion rematch and see if the Blitz Speeder just had an off performance, or if the Gazella R is that car that is the fastest in our fleet and maybe the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet. Who knows? Okay, let's go back to the selection page, because Mustard has picked 81, the Scorcher. Let's see what that one looks like. That is, just past it. 81, the Scorcher. Okay. So this is, it's definitely one of Hot Wheels' kind of fantasy cars. It has a little bit of, I see a little bit of Camaro in there, a little bit of stock car. So this is, should be an interesting pick. I will write this one down. So we've already got 3 picks in here. We've got Jordan's pick of the Vancenator. We have Roughshod picked Iridium. And now we have the Scorcher. And from Mustard Jello. And we will find out which of these cars is going to take the top spot and challenge the Gazella R for the fastest in fleet title. So we are already set to go. We've got 3 cars picked and we're just getting started. One thing that I've been talking about for a while, off and on, is that I found online there was a Kickstarter campaign for a company that was making a wind tunnel for Hot Wheels cars, 1/64th scale cars, and then I think they were going to do larger sizes for bigger model cars. And I supported the Kickstarter campaign, and as you know with Kickstarter, just because you support something, if they don't hit their goal, then the project doesn't move forward. Well, they hit their goal, they put the thing into production, and this is started probably last summer and went through. They completed the process and started shipping them out. So I was seeing on Instagram, I was seeing people, a few different accounts, people were showing this device, and I was thinking like, wait, well, I supported this, where's mine? And it was like much larger accounts than mine, so I thought, well, maybe it was like an influencer kind of thing. So I went back into Kickstarter and I would see the updates, and eventually I saw a message that said basically that you had to go back and go through these other steps to confirm your shipping address, which I thought they already had from when I first signed up. But nevertheless, I went through that process, signed up, started sending them emails like, hey, what's going on? Where's my device? And they were sending back information that, yeah, we've got your information. It'll be there. And then, to my surprise, the other day, I came home and this box was here. The Funtech Labs Windsible. This is the wind tunnel. The 1/64th scale wind tunnel. So we will actually be able to, if this works as expected, we'll be able to put these Hot Wheels cars in the wind tunnel and actually see how the air flows over, under, and around these cars, just like real world cars. I got it the other day, and I hadn't really decided. I was thinking like, okay, I want to record the whole process of me opening it, putting it together, because I do want to show people, what the process is. Does the thing work? Does it work as expected? Before you go out and spend your money, because I forget how much I had to invest in the Kickstarter campaign to get it, but it's not cheap. So before you spend your money, I wanted to make a video and let everyone see, what it is. And then the other thing I have to do is figure out where to set it up, because I do want to have it set up. And then, for example, like when we pick the cars, we can do the regular thing that we do, take the pictures, look at the cars, but then, drop them in the wind tunnel and see what we see, and see if there's a correlation between their performance on the track and what we've observed in the wind tunnel. So I'm excited to get that working. Definitely going to be doing it this week, and by next week, and AtTheTrack.live, I should figure out how and where to set it up, because well, that's the other thing. I have to set up another camera, and I currently have 5 cameras set up. So I'm going to see if I can add a 6th so that we can do the wind tunnel, or I might have to do that as a separate thing at some other time. I don't know. I haven't figured it out, but I'm glad it's here. And if you are interested in finding out more about this before I open it up, it's Funtech Lab, and you can find them on Instagram. And the product is called Windsible, Windsible how did they spell it? Sible, Windsible, I think. Is it written on here? Let's see. Yeah, Windsible. Right there. Windsible. And then I bought this, and then this fog fluid, which is what creates the smoke. And that's also the thing that I'm most concerned about, is that whatever this fog fluid is, they haven't said what it is, and apparently I can only get it from them because I don't know what's in it or what it is. And I don't know how long it's going to last. Like, how long does one container of fog fluid last? And if I run out, then I have to go back and buy it from them. And they're based in Hong Kong. So then there's the shipping and the cost, and you don't know what's going on with these tariffs and how much things are going to cost in the future to ship from there. So I don't know, but it's here now. I'm going to get it set up, and we will see how that goes. But all right, so we've got three cars picked right now. Jordan, Mustard, and Roughshot all pick cars, and that still leaves slots to introduce some other cars that have in the fleet. So one thing is, I was in the grocery store and I saw a car that I liked. I'd seen it before, and it's the Carbonator, and it's got the little gimmick where it's got a bottle opener on the back of the car, so the wing is metal and you can apparently use it as a bottle opener. So I'd seen the Carbonator lots of times, and I knew that I had one in storage, but this one I liked because I liked the color better, and it's this one. But then I looked at the name and it didn't say Carbonator, it said the Brutonator. Okay, so now it's the Brutonator, but it still has the same little gimmick on here with the bottle opener. And so I was thinking, well, the name's different. Maybe there's something design-wise about the car that's actually different. So I went this morning and I pulled out the Carbonator, which is this one. And you can see the name, the bottom. This Carbonator is green, which is why it looks like it's not actually there, because it's a green screen. But I'm looking at these cars, and they are identical. They just changed the name. So what we do when we have two cars that are the same, we can't have duplicate cars in the fleet. So what's going to happen is we are going to have a showdown. We're going to have the Brutonator versus the Carbonator, and whichever car wins that race is going to be the car that gets introduced into the fleet. And we will find out pretty quickly whether or not this design of this car is effective on our track. And so that's the thing that I actually am curious about, because since it's designed as a bottle, and a bottle kind of it's got a slight kind of teardroppy effect, it should be fairly aerodynamically sound, and it's got the big wing in the back. So aside from the bottle opening gimmick, I think this car might actually be fast, either one. Now, I'm hoping that the Brutonator wins, because I like the color scheme better. It's got this sort of this kind of burgundy, metal flake dark brown with the red bottle. This Carbonator has it's all green. It's the Earth Day edition, and it's it's okay, but I want to know which one is faster. So I think, because we would end up, I don't want to mess up the spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do is we're going to just get this. We're going to go do something a little bit unusual. And I'm going to crack these open. we'll take a look, and we'll just get this race out of the way immediately so that we can find out which car is going to be in the fleet. So let me crack these open. We'll take a closer look. I guess I really only need to open up one to look at because they are exactly the same. And the king of the Nators, yeah. And I don't know if anybody actually used, these wheels, the wheels on this one seem, I mean, I guess it doesn't show on camera, but they're rattling around a bit. I don't know. All right, let's put this up here, take a look. I don't know if anybody's actually ever used this as a bottle opener. Maybe. Let's switch over to this view here. Take that down. And that is the Carbonator. And then this other one, the Brutonator. I guess they're both just, I guess the wheels just rattle around. And it's an open wheel car, but again, the important part with these cars is that it does have this little bumper in the front to protect the wheels. So in the event that this car crashes, this piece here will protect the wheel, so the axles will not get bent. But we have that car, and then compare it. This is so that's the Carbonator, and this is the Brutonator right there. And you'll see that they are the exact same car, and it's really just the color scheme and the name that are different. But we need to find out which of these cars is going to be the car that is going to be representing for the bottle opener gimmick cars in the future. So we're going to I'm going to take these cars, we're going to go to the track right now, and just a quick explanation. I will probably say this again later on, but if you are new to watching At The Track Live and have not seen our races, this is the view that you will see when we go to the track. It's our 3-camera track view, and the cars will start off in the launcher at the top left of the screen. I will give a countdown, 3, 2, 1, race. I will release the cars from the launcher. They'll come firing out from top to bottom. They will pass out of the bottom of the screen on the left. They will show up at the top of the screen in the middle. They will come from top to bottom, pass out of that screen, and then you can catch them in the screen on the right, which is our finish line camera. The cars are coming from top to bottom. They will cross the finish line. The winning car will be indicated with a solid red light, and the losing car will be indicated with a flashing red light. So that is that. The cars, it will be best 2 out of 3, and the cars will switch lanes in the event that these cars crash. If one car crashes and leaves the track, then I will restart that race. If the car crashes twice consecutively, then that car is disqualified, and we will have our winners. So we're going to have Brutonator versus Carbonator, and I'm going to run over to the track. We're going to have this race to determine which car gets to stay. Then I'm going to come back. We'll look at some more cars. We'll pick up the viewer cars, and then we'll have our bigger tournament later on. But I will see you at the track in about 30 seconds. Here we go. Okay, I just need to check the audio. 1, 2. Yep, audio's good. All right, so we are going to find out as the king of the Nators, the Brutonator or the Carbonator. Only one can stay. This town isn't big enough for the two of them, so we are going to see. And who knows, maybe these cars are actually fast. We will find out. We are going to have the Carbonator in lane 1. We're going to have the Brutonator in lane 2. These cars are lined up, ready to go. So here we go. Race number 1. Carbonator, lane 1. Brutonator, lane 2. Three, two, one, race. And the Brutonator took that. Now I did, when the cars launched out, the Carbonator, that wing, it kind of flew up, and I felt it kind of scrape against the top of the acrylic cover. And I think that served to slow it down. The Brutonator didn't have any similar trouble, but those cars were not fast. I could tell from that pass right there that they are not. That was not a good enough. There was not enough speed on display there to suggest that these cars would have even a mild chance of beating out. Of beating out the Gazella. Like, no chance. So let's switch these up, and we'll put the Carbonator in lane 1. We will put the Brutonator in lane 2. And here we go, race number 2. Brutonator, lane 1, Carbonator, lane 2. Three, two, one, race. The Carbonator, with a spectacular-ish kind of crash, it went into the air, it went on the barrier, it ended up backwards in lane number 1, so it flew over the barrier, landed in lane 1. The problem for the Carbonator is that it didn't leave the track, and that's one of the things, is that if a car crashes and leaves the track, then it is disqualified, and then we just run the race again, which we could have done, and I guess we can. It's not going to hurt anything, but I just don't, for whatever reason, even though these cars are exactly the same, the Carbonator seems to be underperforming. It got a bad launch in the first race, and it crashed in the second race. So it's not really looking like it's the Carbonator's day. But we'll give it a second chance right here to do something, to prove us wrong, to prove me wrong, to prove something. So here we go. The Carbonator's back in lane 2. The Brutonator's in lane 1. The Brutonator's up 1 race to none. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. The Carbonator did a wheelie, hit a barrier, came off the track. The Carbonator's toast. The Carbonator is done. I will be handing the Carbonator off to one of my friends who likes to drink beverages that require a bottle opener, and the Brutonator is going to be the car that stays. So let me grab these cars, head back in the garage, and we can look at some of the other picks. Okay, so the Brutonator is the one that made the cut. So I will take the, I'll just shoot the video for this one first. As it comes around, I mean, the Carbonator crashed twice, which is interesting, because these cards are exactly the same. So I would have expected the exact same performance from them both, but that was not the case. So let's go here and see. This is car number 810. We have 810 cars in the fleet. This is the Brutonator. Brutonator. And I'll check the manufacturing year. But I don't think of the cars that have been picked by Mustard and Roughshod and Jordan, I don't think any of those cars will have any trouble with the beating the Brutonator. The Brutonator just doesn't seem, it didn't seem fast, and especially it's definitely not in the category of the Gazella. So maybe it might be able to beat one of the other cars that gets introduced today, but even then, that seems like a stretch. So, but you never know. So let me get the still picture here of the Brutonator, and zoom in there. And I guess I should put up the kind of, because the students need to be able to see that wing. That wing is critical and crucial. So let me put in this backdrop so that they can at least see the wing. Get a better idea about the car that they are selecting. Move that right there. And we now have car number 810, the Brutonator, in the fleet. And yeah, it's definitely not one of the faster cars, but you never know what it's going to do when, well, actually we do know what it's going to do, because we just saw what it can do, and what it can do is not much. But hey, on the right day, under the right set of circumstances, any car can win. In theory, it's not beating the Gazella, but we're far from that. So, all right, we've got the Brutonator. We have what year was this manufactured? This was 2000 and now I've got to pull out my microscope, my magnifying glass. Let's see, what year is this? 2000, is that an 8 or a 3? That is an 8. 2008. All right. Oh, I didn't weigh it. Let's see how much the Brutonator weighs. It does have, it seems heavier. And it weighs 36 grams, which is not, it's not extremely heavy. But I think the fact that this is all metal, because it's gonna be used as a bottle opener, it has a lot more metal than the standard cars that we tend to pick. And just a reminder, the Gazella R weighs in at 32.3 grams. And so we have both of those cars ready to go. And you just drop in the year was 2008. All right, so we've got the Brutonator as a new entrant into the fleet. And what do we have? Oh, I know which one we're going with. This is one that I picked up. It's a newer car. and it's one of the new for 2025. And I look at the cars and kind of check out the aerodynamics and the shape and the aerodynamic profile of the car, and I think, yeah, this car should give the Champ a run for its money. And that was the case with that's how I picked up the Gazella, because I was looking at it and thinking this car could probably compete with the Blitz Beater. Turns out it beat it. Well, now next up is this one, the Shrieker. And it kind of looks like a mock speeder, but it's got a huge diffuser in the back, and I don't know, it very much, I'll have to compare this to a mock speeder, but this is the Shrieker. And what does it say on the back? Born in 2024 in El Segundo, California, which is right down the street. Shrieker will leave the competition in the dust by combining 5 animal-based special powers with pure raw speed and crazy handles to win the ultimate garage and Hot Wheels Let's Race. So Hot Wheels Let's Race is either a TV show. Oh, yeah. Hot Wheels Let's Race is seen on Netflix. Race to the finish line with these iconic vehicles that are up for any challenge. So I haven't seen that show, so I don't know if it's a cartoon, which I presume it is, or something where they're designing Hot Wheels cars. I don't know, but we are going to race the Shrieker, and we are going to find out if this is the car that can take out the Gazella. So let's crack this open and take a closer look. Okay, Mustard's saying it's a cartoon. All right. Well, this car, let's see what it weighs. It weighs in at 27 grams, so it's light. It's very light. That's interesting. Okay, so we've got 27 grams. And let's go ahead and take a closer look here at the Shrieker. So here we go. And I'm just, as soon as I look at it, I'm thinking the mock speeder. And if you are familiar with that, then you'll kind of see the similarities, and maybe I'll pull up, I'll find it in the list a little later. But we got this car here, the Shrieker, and I like that. Boom. And then let's get this video. And as it comes around, you'll see that in the back, it's just got a humongous diffuser. And, you know, what role that will play in the car's performance, I don't know. But it's the kind of thing which makes me very excited to try out the wind tunnel, because we know that the diffusers, the wings, all of the various parts of these cars are in real life are designed to direct the airflow and reduce drag. So the question will be, do all of those elements translate to the Hot Wheels scale, to the 1/64th scale cars? And do they work the same? And we'll be able to observe that, in theory, with the wind tunnel. So let's see. This is the Shrieker, S-H-R. The Shrieker. Let me make sure I spelled that correctly. I added an R. Okay, the Shrieker. And just looking at, I'm going to stop the video, but still, yeah. So Roughshot is saying about like the openings on the side, and see, that's the thing with the real supercars. Those openings. Oh, didn't want to go there. I wanted to go here. The openings are actually open and kind of flow so that the air can, flow through. But then in the case of the Hot Wheels cars, sometimes they only have the illusion of the opening, and they're not actually open all the way through the back of the car. So instead of air being able to flow through, if this were a real car, instead of the air being able to flow all the way through to the back, it may just get trapped in some of these areas and increase the drag and slow the car down. Now, it's got a giant splitter in the front. We've got, the side skirt. It's just, they've sort of thrown all the elements in here. But I'm also looking at this wing. And this wing that we've kind of observed that cars, there's been sort of a correlation between cars that have done well, that have this taller wing that is at or the roof line or above. This one's definitely above the roof line, so we're going to find out. And the question is, I think the wing sticks out just a little further than this diffuser, so that should be the main point of contact, this wing right there. And we're going to see how this car does. I picked it up looking at it, thinking it could definitely give the Gazella a run for its money, but you don't know. You don't know until these cars actually hit the track, but it definitely has a very mock speederish vibe to it. And let me see let me find the number of the mock speeder, because this car is almost certainly, it looks just like a modified version of that car. Mock speeder is number 52. So let's go ahead and take a look at car number 52, which is the mock speeder, which was one of our early, right here. Okay, I definitely see a lot of differences. Now, with the body seems very similar, especially the middle, from the part of the body between the two tires, or between the front wheels and the rear wheels, seems very similar. On the Street Shrieker, they have closed up those openings where I guess the door would be. The mock speeder seems to have, there's a little bit of an opening where the plastic goes in. And the mock speeder has those huge cone, I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it just looks like something that is going to trap in air, and I don't know that that's the thing. But the mock speeder is fast. It is a fast car. I don't know that it is faster than the Gazella or some of the cars that we've seen perform well, the Draftnator, the Blitz Speeder. But this mock speeder, I also have, I believe there's a, and it might not be in the fleet, but I have an Hot Wheels ID car version of this, which I believe is a little heavier and has a little bit more premium materials and designs. Let's see, Roughshod says that Street Shrieker is similar to number 78 as well. Oh yeah, this Exotique. Yeah, I'm surprised no one's picked that. Now this one, I think it's missing the wing. If I had to guess, I'd say it needs a wing, but maybe not. This is an interesting car. I'm surprised. I don't recall this one being picked, but it's definitely, aerodynamically speaking, it seems like this car might be a good solid pick for the future. But the one that is in today is this one, the Street Shrieker, and we are going to find out if this car has what it takes. It is light. It is extremely light, and it's got the right design. It's light, and we're going to find out how that is all going to play out. It is 27, I weighed it again, 27 grams, and The Gazella is 32 point something. So we are going to find out. This is lining up to be a good, exciting race. And so since we already have 3 picks that I'll go and get from Mustard Jordan and Roughshod, then we really only need to introduce one more car to get up to 6, which is the number we usually start off with. So I picked up a car last night that I'm not sure, I presumed I had it in the fleet, but it's probably one that there's some cars that just haven't been introduced that I know I bought one, but it's somewhere in storage. So when I get to that car in storage, it will be diverted to the prize bin because I don't want to have duplicates. I am checking, and oh, yep, there's already one. So I bought this one. It is, you're not going to be able to see it because it's green, so it's not showing, but it's the Alpha Pursuit, and it is it's just a very sleek fantasy futuristic police car, and we have one, and it is $399. So that one will not be entered in. Let's see what it looks like, the one that I have. I figured I had one. It's one of those cars that you always can see. Oh yeah, here it is. The Alpha Pursuit. And there it is. I probably came in one of those sets, one of those Hot Wheels City Metro 5-packs or something. So there it is. So it's already in there, which means that this other Alpha Pursuit is going to the prize bin. Some lucky student who is paying attention, answering questions, will get to select that car. So that means we still need a 6th car, and I've got, let's see, what do we have here? How about we go with, here's another of these, let's see, let me check, just double check, and triple check, see if we already have one of these cars. 17, a 2017. We do not. So we are going with the 2017 Pagani Huayra Roadster, and I think we have a non-convertible version of this already in the fleet, but this one is not, so it's going in. And let's crack this open and take a closer look. Paganis, of course, are legit supercars, hypercars, and in the real world, they are some of the fastest cars on Earth. But scaled down to 1/64 scale, we don't know. This car weighs in at 31.8 grams. So it's still lighter than the Gazella, but not as light as the Street Shrieker. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Turn this off. And this is a great looking car. Comes around. I like the blue and the gold accents. I love the wheels. This is a car that, who knows, the convertible part of it makes me a little hesitant to think that it's going to be able to beat out the Gazella, but you never know. And this is another car that I'd be interested to get into the wind tunnel to see exactly how the air flows over, under, and around this car. And let me get the name in there. It's the 17 Pagani Huayra, Huayra Huayra Roadster. All right, and comes around. The back end is flat, and I think really it's just how will the air, after it comes up over the top, over the windshield, what happens in that area where the seats are. I don't know. But if it turns out that the air kind of gets trapped in this area, so it comes up, and then what happens to the air as it comes up in this area? Does that end up slowing the car down? Because drag is a real force, and these cars are not immune to its effects. But I'm looking at this car, and again, they put the details in here. See if I can get it to focus in. Let's see. Right there. It's Pagani. They have the Hot Wheels logo. Pagani badge right there. So some extra little details. They colored the lights, the front, the headlights also. So this is a good looking car, and we'll see how it performs. Let me check the manufacturing year. It is 2017 for the Pagani Huayra Roadster. 2017. All right, so we have, focus it in. So we have those cars, and we are good to go. Now all I have to do is I have to go pull cars number 81, 557, and 198. All right, so I'm going to go and pull I'm going to go pull those three cars, and of course, as usual, I don't have any other kind of interim music while I go do this, so I'm going to throw up the bathroom break graphic, and I'm going to go pull these cars. It's going to save 5 minutes. Shouldn't take me 5 minutes. Should just take me a few minutes to grab these cars, and then we'll take a quick look at those, and then we'll be ready to hit the track and see what happens. So I'll be right back. nice. Flush it. I've got to check because is it 198? Trying to see where. Yeah, because car number 198. I got to double check the numbers because this is not showing me the Iridium, which is strange. But let's. I'm gonna figure this out. Let's take a look at this is the Vancenator. And this is a fantasy car that could get the job done. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's got the tall wing, and we've seen the cars with that wing placed high up at the roof line have done well. The aerodynamic profile is good. It's another car with this giant splitter in the front, and that looks pretty good. So let's see. The car that I couldn't find that seemed to be in the wrong place was the Iridium. Now either I have it, yeah, it says 198. So then, what car is here? So the car that's in the spot that says Iridium is actually the Rocket Box. So maybe, just maybe, if I look up the Rocket Box, I will find the Iridium in that one. This is the white one. So 110. Let me go check 110. But that is that one, and then the Scorcher is this one. And put these two cars sort of side by side. Take a look at them both as I go and check to see, because this is the car that was in the place where the Iridium was supposed to be. So then hopefully when I look in the spot for this car, I'll find the Iridium. So let me see, 110. Just aha. And that is, in fact, what happened. So somehow these cars got swapped around, and we've got the Iridium was in the Rocket Box slot, and the Rocket Box was in the Iridium slot, but we have them both here now. So now we're going to take a look at the Iridium, but first let's see how much this Vancenator, how much does this weigh? Feels very light, very light. And 31 grams, so it's still a little bit heavier than the Street Shrieker, but just slightly weighs a little bit less than the Gazella. And then the Scorcher weighs in at 33.1 grams. And let's see, this Iridium is weighing in at 32.8. So all these cars are right in the sweet spot. This is probably the most unique of the cars that we've looked at so far. And this one, it's got an interesting aerodynamic profile. It's got this channel right here in the middle that, in theory, the air should flow up and down, and then it's split between this wing and come down through the back side. The canopy is closed. It's got the larger wheels in the back, smaller wheels in the front, the 5-spoke wheels. This wing is definitely, I would think, the most interesting feature, the placement, that it's so far forward on the body. And as the car comes around from the back, you can actually see this channel right here, and the air should come through and flow off of that. What happens in the end, I don't know, which is another reason why I'm just, excited to get this wind tunnel and see how that works. But this is a very interesting car. I have no idea how it's going to perform, but we are all going to find out together because we have our 6 cars and we are ready to just about ready to go hit the track. And before we do that, I just want to go over one more time the race rules and explain what you will be seeing when you watch these races. So you will see our 3-track view, and the cars will start at the screen on the top left. There is the launcher. I will give a countdown, 3, 2, 1, race, and then the cars will come firing out of the launcher. They will come from top to bottom. They will pass out of the bottom of the screen on the left. They will show up at the top of the screen in the middle. They will go from top to bottom, passing out of the bottom of that screen, showing up at the top of the screen on the right, our finish line camera. They will come from top to bottom, crossing the finish line, and the winning car will be indicated with a solid red light. The losing car will be indicated with a flashing red light. The races are best 2 out of 3. The cars switch lanes after each race, and in the event that a car crashes, then we just start the race over again. But it has to come off the track. If a car crashes, stays on the track, it just loses. If a car crashes, comes off the track, we throw out those results, start the race again, race the cars, and if a car crashes twice consecutively, it is disqualified. And usually that disqualification, we do that because if a car crashes twice consecutively in exactly the same way, there's something about the design of the car, the weight of the car, the launch that it's getting, that is not going to be resolved by just rerunning the race. So car crashes twice in a row, it's out. Then that's pretty much it. We are going to find out which of these cars is going to be the one to challenge the Gazella for the fastest in fleet crown, and we are ready to hit the track. So once again, for the second time today, I will see you over at the track in 30 seconds. Okay. Double checking the audio once again because I got a little, okay, it's good. Always a little paranoid. There was one episode at the beginning of the AtTheTrack.live shows months and months ago where the audio wasn't working, and there turned out I'm talking and there's just no audio. So I always want to double check the levels and everything, make sure we're good to go. And let's see here, there, and all right, we are ready to go. So let's see what matchups we're gonna have. We've got the Brutonator, we've got the Vancenator. I think it's gonna be the two Nator. We've got another Nator. This is truly the battle of the Nators. We have the Carbonator, we've got the Brutonator, now we've got the Vancenator. So the Vancenator versus Brutonator is going to be our first matchup, and then we will kind of go from there. All right, let's see what happens. Got a pretty interesting lineup, pretty diverse. Other than this Brutonator, I don't know that I see any cars that don't have a pretty good shot. So we have the Vancenator in lane 1. We have, and that was Jordan's pick, we have the Brutonator in lane 2. This is race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Oh. Wow. The Brutonator was actually winning that race. Somewhere, some way down towards the middle part of the track, I don't know if it clipped. Let me double check, because if it clipped the tripod, then we will restart this race, which it may have. No, it definitely didn't touch that, but it just kind of jumped in a weird way. I'm checking, and even though right here it is still not touching it's not touching the tripod, but it just took a weird sort of jump to the side. And when it did that, it ended up slowing down just a bit. And as it slowed down, the Vancenator flew past it and took the race. So the Vancenator is up 1 race to none. We are going to switch lanes and see if the Brutonator can force a 3rd race. But I don't know. The Brutonator didn't seem fast to me when it raced the Carbonator, and it doesn't seem particularly fast now. But we still run the races because you never know. So the Brutonator is now in lane 1. The Carbonator is in lane 2. And here we go, race number 2. Three, two, one, race. Okay, that was a much, much closer and much better race. The Brutonator didn't have any issues. It stayed close with the Vancenator, but in the Battle of the Nators, the Vancenator won and will be moving on. So let me go grab the Brutonator, and the Brutonator has reached the end of the track and wedged itself under the memory foam barrier, and we will send that one back to the garage. And next up, let's go with let's see, we are going to go with the we'll go with this Pagani versus the Scorcher. So I believe the Scorcher was Mustard's pick, and it is this fantasy stock car against the Pagani Roadster, which is the supercar. And let's go with the Pagani in lane 1 lined up. How will that affect that it's a convertible? How will that impact its performance? I don't know. The Scorcher seems ready to go. It seems like one of these fantasy cars that's just made to perform well on the track, but we will find that out. So the Scorcher's in lane 2, the Pagani's in lane 1, race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Scorcher lived up to its name. It burned that track down. That was, I don't know if the Pagani's slow, but the Scorcher is fast. And yes, it was just one race, but sometimes you can just see a performance and you got to appreciate the speed of the car. So the Scorcher was fast. Can the Pagani, measure up? I don't know, because that was usually, if a car gets beaten by that big of a margin, unless something weird happened with the launch, which I didn't see anything to indicate that, then there's not really much hope for a car to catch up. But we're going to put the Pagani in lane 2, and the Scorcher is now in lane number 1. And this Scorcher, whew, that was a fast pass run. So here we go. Race number 2, Scorcher in lane 1. We've got the Pagani in lane 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Now this time the Pagani got beaten by a huge margin, but the Pagani did in the first third of the track. It went up on, it looked like it went up on 2 wheels, and it corrected itself. But you can't be the slower car and have an issue. It's kind of like in any kind of sports game. If your team is an underdog, you don't have margin for error. You have to play pretty much a perfect game if you're playing a better team. And in this case, if your car is slower, you can't have flaws and flubs and mistakes and anything on the track. You have to have your best runs every time. And in that case, I don't know if it would have mattered because the Scorcher appears to be that fast, but the Pagani, bad launch, and you lose the race. All right, next up is the Street Shrieker versus Roughshod's Iridium. So we've got that pick, and this Iridium seems like one of those 90s fantasy cars just based on the metal on the bottom, but the manufacturing year is not on there, so I'd have to look at the spreadsheet. But we're going to go with the Iridium in lane 2, lined up with its wing sort of forward of the rear wheels, and then the Street Shrieker with its monstrous diffuser is going to be in lane 1. So we've got the Street Shrieker in lane 1. We've got the Iridium in lane 2. Race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo. And the Iridium flew down the track, and the Street Shrieker flew off the track. So we will restart that race, and as a matter of fact, the Street Shrieker flew off the thing, hit one of the cameras, and knocked it out of whack. So let me get that straightened back out. Okay. And see if the Street Shrieker can stay on the track. So the Iridium was moving, but it's hard to gauge when a car is not doesn't actually have another car to compete with. So let's get these set up again, and we will see if the Street Shrieker can stay on the track. I hate to disqualify cars, and there's not really a reason that I see why this car shouldn't stay on the track. So we might, I'm a little flexible on that disqualification rule, but let's see what happens. All right, so the Street Shrieker is in lane 1, Iridium's in lane 2, race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. The Street Shrieker crashed again. It crashed this time in a different way. It came through. It went up on 2 wheels. Those 2 wheels went on the barrier, so it kind of rode the barrier for a little while, and then it flipped, crashed, and went off the track. I am going to give it one more opportunity because I'm feeling generous today, and I'm curious to see if this car can actually perform. If it crashes this 3rd time, it's absolutely disqualified, and we will be moving on. But it will also be, if it crashes 3 times in a row, then cars that get disqualified, I always go back and shoot slow motion video to see exactly what is happening, why they're crashing. But we also remember the Street Shrieker was the lightest car it was like 27 grams or something. So, as I've mentioned, their weight is important, and just because a car is light does not mean that it's going to be the fastest. In fact, it's going to have issues, clearly. So we're going to give it this last shot. Street Shrieker's in lane 1. The Iridium's in lane 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Okay, both cars stayed on the track. The Iridium was still definitely faster. Never lost the lead in that race, so the Iridium takes it 1-0. We're going to switch lanes and see if the Street Shrieker can make up the difference. It is a lighter car, and as we've been explaining and discussed the last 2 weeks, that a lighter cars have the same problem that heavier cars do. Toward the back end of the track, they slow down for different reasons, but nevertheless, they slow down. And so cars that are in that sweet spot of 32 grams to 36 grams don't have those same issues, but we'll see what happens. So now the Street Shrieker is in lane 2, the Iridium is in lane 1. The cars are just about set to race. Just need to get this lined up here. Okay, so Iridium lane 1 and Street Shrieker is in lane 2. Yeah, roughshode's right. The cars, there is a point at which car is too light. So the Street Shrieker may have reached that point. So we're going to go race number 2, Street Shrieker lane 2, Iridium lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the Street Shrieker had its doors blown off, and it lost that race, and it will be heading to the garage. It's a good-looking car. It's very interesting, but I think the fact that it was so light, it didn't have a chance. Not the same chance as a car that would weigh a little bit more. Let me just make some adjustments, make sure that the tripods are out of the way, which they are, and we are down to, oh, very interesting. So the 3 cars that are left are all of the 3 viewer picks. That would be Roughshode's Iridium, that would be Jordan's Vancenator, and that would be Mustard's Scorcher. So we're gonna go. Let's go Vancenator versus Scorcher, and see which car is going to be taking the title today. But we're guaranteed that it is going to be a viewer pick, which is, I think, it's happened before, but it's definitely happening today. So the Scorcher is lined up in lane 1. The Vancenator, which won the Battle of the Nators, is in lane 2. And we are ready to go. Vancenator, lane 2. The Scorcher, lane 1. This is Mustard versus Jordan. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Ooh. Close race, but the Vancenator pulled it out. We will see what happens in race 2, but that was the cars didn't really, like sometimes you can see a car either slowing down, you can see another car kind of making progress as that slowdown process happens. That wasn't the case. By about the first third of the track, the cars, it looked like the Vancenator had about maybe a car and a half length lead, and it didn't seem to give that up the entire time. So we'll see what happens next, but so far we're looking good we've got the Vancenator in lane 1. In lane 1, provided I can get it to stay. And the Scorcher is now in lane 2. Ready to go. So, here we go. Race number 2. We've got the Scorcher in lane 2. We've got the Vancenator in lane 1. And we're ready to go. Three, two, one, race. Ooh, very close. So the Scorcher comes back and has forced a third and decisive race. So the Scorcher, it was still a very close race, but the Scorcher held on for the win. And now we are going to find out which car is going to move on to the finals to take on Roughshod's Iridium. And will it be the Vancenator or will it be the Scorcher? So, let's get these cars set up for this third race. It's like a game 7. This is game 3. So we've got the Vancenator in lane 2. We've got the Scorcher in lane 1. We are ready to go. Here we go, the third and final race. Whichever car wins this moves on to the finals. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. The Scorcher, unfortunately. So the Scorcher came out, and in the first, there's a barrier right here, just shortly past the launcher. The Scorcher came out, went on 2 wheels, slid on the barrier, and then got back on the track, corrected itself, but by that time, the Vancenator was far down the track, and the Scorcher, unfortunately, it would have been better for the Scorcher to leave the track. I've mentioned this before, that some of these cars make these incredible saves. They're about to crash, and then they save themselves, get right on the track, and finish the race, which is great, good for them. The problem is that in doing that, they allow another car to just take the lead. So the Scorcher would have been better just crashing and leaving the track, because then the race would have been started over. Instead, it made an incredible save, stayed on the track, finished the race, but the Vancenator had already passed it up. And yeah, Mustard, it's one of those things that happens. It was pretty cool. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the video because it was impressive. It should have just stayed. It should have just crashed. If you're gonna crash, crash. All right, so we're now at the finals. We've got the Iridium, which is in lane 2. And that's Roughshod's pick with the unusual wing, sort of 2/3 of the way down the body of the car. And then we've got the Vancenator, the king of the Nators, and that's in lane 1. So lane 1, Jordan's Vancenator, and lane 2, Roughshod's Iridium. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Wow. That one was close. I had to look at the lights on the track. It shows that the Vancenator won, but it did not win by much. Those cars were even all the way down the track, and fortunately, we have the laser precision of the finish line to let us know which car crossed first, and that was one of the closest races we've seen in a while, but the Vancenator pulled it out, so we're going to switch lanes and see if the Iridium can force a third and final race. So, getting these cars lined up here. Can the Vancenator, it's our first pick of the day from Jordan, be the car that's going to represent against the Gazella? Or is the Iridium going to come back and take 2 in a row? We've seen that happen. We've definitely seen that happen. A car loses the first race, comes back, takes 2 in a row. Absolutely possible. Seen that happen before. Let me get the Iridium straightened out here. And we are good to go. The Iridium in lane 1. We have the Vancenator in lane 2. And this is race number 2. The Vancenator, can it make it a clean sweep, or is the Iridium going to force a third race? Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Oh. Another very, very close race, but the Vancenator takes it, and the Vancenator is today's champion. It has beaten out all of the other 5 cars, and it now has the opportunity to take on the Gazella R for the fastest in fleet title. We are going to find out. It's made some, it looked good. It looked good, but now you're talking about a jump in the level of competition. The Gazella has been extraordinarily dominant, like not even breaking a sweat against most cars. So we're going to find out right now if we are going to have a new champion, if we are going to have another case of a car that looked good in the regular season but faltered in the playoffs. We will see. Let me get the Gazella lined up here in lane 1. All right, the Gazella's in lane 1. The Vancenator's in lane 2. This is for the fastest in fleet title. We are going to find out right now. Does the Vancenator have what it takes to take out the champ? Here we go. Race 1. Vancenator lane 2. Gazella lane 1. Three, two, one, race. It was close. It was close, but the Gazella still took the race, and the Vancenator hung with the Gazella in a way that few cars do, but it still didn't have enough to beat the Gazella. But it's got another opportunity. We're going to switch lanes, and we will see. Maybe that was just the race to get a feel for the Gazella. And now the Vancenator is about to turn it on and show us exactly what it can do. Or the Gazella is going to continue its march towards March 29th and the showdown rematch with the Blitzspeeder. I don't know. We are going to find out. The Gazella is in lane 2. The Vancenator is in lane 1. Here we go. Race number 2. The Vancenator needs to pull this out to force a third race, but that's a tall order. So here we go. Three, two, one, race. And this time the Gazella left no doubt. It took that race with complete and total ease and remains our fastest in fleet champion. It is just ridiculously fast, but we had some good races today. Let me gather up these cars, head back into the garage. We'll take a look at the winners, the losers, and the outcomes and see what's ahead. So give me just a minute, and I'll be back in the garage. So the Gazella R remains our fastest in fleet champion. This car is just, it's absurd how fast it is. I mean, the Stalker, the Vancenator, we're all fast cars. But we've seen in the past that cars that are fast, as Mustard said, the Gazella is just a step up. It's a different level of fast, and it reminds me of, I know I have all these sports analogies, but when you have a player who's really good in college and then they go to the NFL, and one of the things that they say is that everything's so much faster, because in college you might be the fastest player on your team, in your conference, in your league, but then when you get to the NFL, everyone is fast. Everyone is the top person. But then there's people who are just a step above that. And the Gazella is beyond just a fast Hot Wheels car. This car is whatever, all of the factors that you need to be fast on our track, the Gazella has it. So I've seen some slow motion video of how quickly the Gazella corrects itself from bad launches to straighten out on the track. That's important. So it's good from the standpoint of the launches that it's getting and how it corrects itself. The aerodynamic profile, it is clearly reducing drag. I'm looking at it now and I see that it's another car with this big splitter, but there's an opening here so air can pass through here, and then what it does underneath the car, it's a question for the wind tunnel. I think the Gazella might have to be, out of respect for what it's doing, it's going to have to be the first car in the wind tunnel when I get it all set up. It's got the wing high up, which the Vancenator had a wing high up at the roof line, more or less. And let's take a look at, put the Vancenator up here. And so it's got a wing. It's kind of at the roof line. It's got this part that's sticking up. I suppose that's supposed to be the engine. But it's got it's got a flat wing in the back. It has the diffuser in the back coming up. It's got the splitter in the front. Now one difference that I see is that the Gazella, the splitter can be lowered or raised, and since it came out of the package raised, then I just left it raised. With the Vancenator, the splitter is there and it can't be adjusted that I'm aware of. So it's down, but you see the aerodynamic profiles, very sleek. It doesn't have that same, on a traditional car, the windshield would be, there'd be kind of a bump right there. But there's just a difference. When these cars went down the track, the Vancenator is quick, but it was not faster than the Gazella R, and that's nothing to be ashamed of, because no car to this point has been as fast as the Gazella. When we look at the Iridium, it had this is just an interesting car, and I think that this is another one where I'd be curious to see how the air flows over, under, and around this car, especially how this middle channel channels the air. So there's that. I think the most surprising, at least for me, of the day was this one. It was the Street Shrieker, which crashed and just did not perform up to the level that I thought it would. And I'm going to say that is due to the weight. This car is very light. It's 27 grams, which is 5 grams lighter than the Gazella. And it's just, I think when you start getting into the 20s, you're talking about cars that are too light to deal with the force that is created when they are launched out of our launcher, which again is a custom launcher that I designed with the specific purpose of launching the cars out with more force, more speed. And the cars that are light, drag takes them out at the far end of the track, but that's if they get to the far end of the track. Being that light, the kind of explosion and everything that happens out of the launcher is just it's a lot. And if a car is too light, it's going to wobble, it's going to spin. So we saw the Street Shrieker crash twice, and that's not something that was totally unexpected in a car that light, and especially the way it crashed. So I'm going to go back and look at the video and see what I can notice. But yeah, this Street Shrieker, I think if it weighed a little bit more, if it weighed 4 more grams, then I think it would probably have done better. If this wing were metal instead of plastic, it probably would have given it the extra weight that it needed to perform better on the track. Now, we talk about that car crashing, but then we had the Scorcher, which was performing well. It was fast on the track. It was doing well, and then it had the situation where it almost crashed, and then it saved itself. It went up on the barrier and like slid on 2 wheels, and I was pretty certain it was going to just come off and crash, but instead it righted itself, got back on the track, and finished the race, which was it was probably the most impressive thing that happened today during these races. Unfortunately, while it's doing all of that sliding on the barrier and correcting itself, the other car, the Vancenator, was just moving down the track, just moving straight down the track, and it wasn't going to make up that time lost doing the correction, which is why the Gazella is, I think, one of the reasons why the Gazella does so well, because it corrects itself out of the launcher very quickly. So that was those were some good races we had today, and the users proved that they can spot and identify faster cars than the random cars that get pulled out of storage. But we've now introduced the Pagani Huayra Roadster. We had the Battle of the Nators. We had the Super Battle of the Nators. We had the Carbonator, the Brutonator, and the Vancenator. And the Vancenator came out on top, won the tournament, took on the Gazella, came up a little short, but that is the case for most of the cars. We now have 812 cars to pick from. So again, if you think that you can find a car that is faster than the Gazella, all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, select the choose a car option. It will take you to this page, and this page where Roughshod is already fired up and ready to go. He's got his car ready. He is going with 78, the Exotique, which we took a look at earlier, and this car is all just slick and sleek, no wing, no nothing, and the air should have the sides are solid, so air should be flowing right over, under, and around this car with ease, and I think that this is a solid pick. Now, I don't remember and can't tell from this picture what the back end looks like, but if the back end is even remotely flat, then this car should get pretty good launches. I'm going to write this down because this is Roughshod's pick for next week. This is car number 78. And yeah, I think that just based on what we can observe, what we have observed without this car having been on the track yet, I think it's a solid pick. So if you want to make a pick, if you're watching this after the fact, which I know most people are doing, if you're watching this after the fact and you say, you know what, I think I can pick a car that is faster than the Gazella, faster than the Exotique, then all you have to do is go through this list, find the car that you want to pick. All the cars are numbered and named. Just take that number, drop it into the chat next week, or if you have a car that you're looking for, just go to our Instagram account, AA Aerodynamics, and you can send me a DM and ask, hey, Coach James, do you have such and such car? And I will check the spreadsheet. I will see if we have it. And if we do, I will pull it out and I will enter it into the tournament. And maybe you can pick the car that can take out the Gazella as it marches towards March 29th and the showdown with the Blitz Speeder. I thought I'd pick the car. I thought that Street Shrieker, I didn't know it was that light, but I thought that was going to be the car. But who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to pick the car that will knock off the Gazella and claim the fastest in fleet title. But we have many, many more cars to choose from. There's 811, 811 minus the Gazella. So 811 cars to pick from officially. And then I have hundreds more cars in storage that I'm going to be going through and pulling cars out, and we'll bring them to the track and race those. So you never know. There's always going to be more races to be had and more fun to be had with the Hot Wheels car. As for the wind tunnel, I'm trying to figure out what I should do. I'll either I just do a live unboxing and putting it together, or I will record it separately and then upload it. But either way, next week we will have the wind tunnel, presuming it works and everything's operational. We will have the wind tunnel. We'll be able to take some of these cars, put them in there, and I'll be able to show you. We'll be able to look together to see how the air is flowing over, under, and around these cars. And I'll also be able to give you my opinion as to whether or not this is an investment worth making. It's, like I said, it's expensive, but if it's something that interests you and likes you, hey, it's your money, spend it. But I've already spent mine, so I'll let you know what I think. Let you take a look at it, ask your questions, and we can go from there. But it's a great time, good races. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you to everyone who picked a car and participated. And we will be back here, as we are, every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific. I am Coach James for All About Aerodynamics and At The Track Live. Until next week, I'll see you at the races.